Personally, I'm deeply honored to host you here at the State House and to launch one of Fiji's new and very important national priorities, and that is the planting of 4 million trees in about 4 years, as we heard from the Honourable Minister. And I would like to thank the Honourable Minister for enlightening us on some of the reasons for this initiative. I couldn't think of a better alternative than to launch this national initiative right here at the State House at the beginning of the year and to plant the first of the 4 million trees here within the presidential compound. I believe that in developing this initiative, government has shown that it has vision leadership to provide a more sustainable resource that could significantly benefit the communities that rely on the forestry sector and benefit the nation as a whole. Now, this initiative builds on the United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, particularly Sustainable Development Goals, SDG 15. And it certainly supports the New York Declaration on Forests, which aims to end natural forest loss globally and hopefully by 2030. Now, the UN SDGs and New York Declaration aim to restore 350 million hectares of the world's deforested and degraded lands by 2030. That's a lot of land mass. It's going to be quite a challenge, but I have no doubt that we can do it. Fiji's forest cover will increase exponentially, which could only mean that as a nation, we will be able to help, as the Honourable Minister has said, with the greening of our towns and our cities, maintaining and protecting our forests and pristine natural environment, reducing soil erosion and siltation, offsetting some of our carbon output, and contributing to climate change mitigation and adaptation. Now, importantly, this initiative would mean that the forestry sector could significantly increase its contribution to our economic growth. I understand that the sector has been contributing about $40 million towards the economy annually for the past decades. Now, this equates to about 0.6% of our gross domestic product. This initiative will make a huge difference. Now, the initiative can also support greener technology and renewable energy. I'm also particularly pleased because only 2 months ago, we welcomed the Duke of Sussex, Prince Harry, who officially dedicated the Suva Forest Park as part of the Queen's Commonwealth canopy. And aside from here, I was very honored and privileged to receive Fiji's certificate as a member of the Queen's Commonwealth canopy when I was in London some 2 years ago, a certificate which I proudly brought back and handed to the Honourable Prime Minister and the good Minister. That confirms our membership of the Queen's Commonwealth canopy. Now, the QCC aims to create a network of forest conservation initiatives throughout the Commonwealth member countries. Now, this 4 million trees initiative will mean that we will not only be able to dedicate 1 or 2 forest areas under conservation, but we will definitely have more areas around the country that could be dedicated under the QCC. I wish to commend the government through the Ministry of Forestry on the work it has done so far in forest conservation and in restoring degraded, deforested land, which are clearly articulated in Fiji's 5-year and 20-year national development plans. Now, this 4 million tree initiative not only reflects visionary leadership on the part of government, but it also reflects a deep sense of responsibility that we could leave our beloved nation in a better state than when we found it. Just imagine if all countries around the world were to plant millions of trees. We can definitely leave our planet in a better state for our future generations who are now becoming more aware of the negative impacts of climate change and our global obligation as responsible citizens of today to protect and preserve our only planet's natural environment. People talk about a plan A. There's certainly no planet B. The 4 million trees initiative will no doubt have a positive and lasting impact on the lives of our resource owners, and this is extremely vital in government's quest to ensure that equitable distribution of wealth among the urban and the rural areas. Now, I have every confidence that this same socio-economic impact will benefit all Fijians as the forestry sector increases its contribution to our nation's economic growth. Now, government's new national priorities on forestry essentially include the sustainable management of Fiji's forest resources to cater for both the current and the future needs, and in the process to increase the forestry sector's contribution to Fiji's economic growth. An economic growth that we're all proud of. Past 9 years, we've managed to maintain a GDP growth, a modest one at that, but the economy has done reasonably well, and I hope it will continue in that vein. Now, this new initiative will help the nation to be in a better position to strike a balance between conservation and the sustainable utilization of our forest resources. And I have no doubt that the Ministry of Forestry will reach out to as many stakeholders as humanly possible to help us achieve this national target. We wish you well and every success on this initiative, Prime Minister. And you can count on our support. And I'll discuss this briefly with your Permanent Secretary. If you think that we could help in any way, please let us know. I certainly look forward to championing this program during my visits to the schools and right throughout the country in the months ahead. Now, groups like resource owners, women and the youth groups, schools, the forestry and business sectors, and both our international and domestic development partners, including the NGOs and the individuals, can all add significantly value to this initiative. Now, here at the State House, the trees that we'll be planting today will complement a master plan that we have developed to beautify the presidential compound. So this is dovetailing very well into our master plan, and I'd like to thank you for that. We've been looking at ways on how we can get seedlings and plants to add on to what's already here. And I'd like to thank you for coming to our assistance in this regard. Now, that is why I'm so very pleased to hear the Honourable Minister say that the 4 million trees include all types of trees, from timber trees to fruit trees, ornamental trees, non-wood species, and mangroves, among others. We like to plant in this household, Honourable Minister. Now, we plant all sorts of things, but we plant our own tapioca and our own dalo too, and yams. So this is just complementing our daily routine in terms of providing food security and looking after the environment. If you can I digress here a minute? You look towards the wall down there. You see some coconut trees. We started the planting program, some 3 years ago when I took over, and a new lekame, hopefully, but I'm a bit worried because when they start to fruit, we'll have to keep the coconut sellers away from the compound. But anyway. Honourable Minister, ladies and gentlemen, I had asked the Ministry to identify 14 types of trees or species to plant today to symbolically represent the 14 provinces of Fiji. And in planting the first of the 4 million trees, I wish to encourage all Fijians to plant more than 1 tree this year. Now, I'd like to urge all stakeholders to support this forward-looking initiative and to plant for Fiji, and let us plant for the planet. May Almighty God bless this initiative and our beloved nation. Thank you, Nanavad. Thanks.